This is Pastor Roger L. Green, Sr., pastor of the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're welcoming you to our worship services on Sunday morning. Sunday school begin at 8 a.m. Worship services begin at 9 a.m. Come and grow with us, a place of faith, family, and fellowship. We would love to have you. Come see us Sunday morning. We'll see you there. Be blessed.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.
Good evening, Central Louisiana. I'm Jack, and this is a special edition of the Let's Talk show here on UrbanCast. Tonight's conversation is made possible by our silver sponsor, Acadian Ambulance. We appreciate their continued commitment, reporting meaningful conversations like the one we're about to have tonight. Tonight, we're addressing an issue that will directly impact many residents throughout Rapides Parish. A proposed millage increase for Fire District number 2 is set to appear on the ballot on May 16th. The measure focuses on funding equipment, staffing, emergency response needs as costs continue to rise. This is not just about the numbers. It's about response time, safety, and long-term sustainability of fire protection services in our community. That's why tonight's conversation matters. We're joined by Austin Vidring, Fire Prevention Officer, and Stormy Willis, Fire Equipment Operator with Rapides Parish Fire District 2. Gentlemen, how y'all doing this evening?
Doing good. Thank you for having us.
No, anytime, fellas, anytime. If you guys are out there and you're watching live and you have a question about the Fire District, becoming a fireman. We got 2 firemen right over here. Just drop your question out there. You know, if we might just bring it on into the conversation. If you have a question about the tax, drop it in the comments. If we don't know how to answer, I guarantee you with these 2 guys, we're going to be able to get it answered some kind of way sometime.
Absolutely.
Guys, Austin, could you go ahead and introduce yourself? And then Stormy, if you could, just let us know a little bit about what you guys do over there at the fire department.
Yes, sir. Like he said, I'm Austin Vidring with Rapides Parish Fire District 2, and I'm our fire prevention officer. So a little bit about what I do. After a structure fire, I'm called out to come make an investigation. And what I do is take pictures and try to determine whether the cause of that fire. Mm-hmm. I've also got inspections to do and code enforcement, and then I'm also educating the public on fire safety. That's it.
I'm Stormy Willis. I'm a fire engine operator. My main priority is my truck. I'm over my engine. So in the mornings, I go over everything. I check my tools. I check my fluid levels, make sure it has water in it. The truck's my responsibility. I get us to the calls, whether it's a medical emergency or a structure fire. If we're first due at a structure fire, I'll pump the truck. If we're second due, I'll catch a hydrant and establish a water system and all that good stuff.
Okay, so when you say truck, that means all them buttons that you see.
Yes, sir.
You open that door and look in there, and all of them valves and all of that stuff. That's his responsibility.
That's my responsibility. Yeah. Right. I'm responsible for the truck, and I'm responsible to make sure that I get my captain water and I keep them water.
Oh, okay. All right, man. Oh, look, hey, that's the logistics and operations going on there. I tell you what.
Yes, sir.
Austin, what is the proposed millage increase? What is this proposed millage increase, and why has it been brought to the voters now?
So it's a plan to raise the property tax slightly. We're going to stress that slightly. That way we can improve on our fire protection and the emergency services. So why do we bring it to the voters now? So we know the rising costs. Everything is going up. And our staffing needs. We're battling to keep employees right now. So it's a big deal that we're facing. And then our tools and equipment, it's aging. So it's a variety of things that we need and we have to address and get this thing done.
All right. And Stormy, from your perspective in the field, what changes have you seen in demand for services over the years, man?
It really varies from year to year. Like this past summer, when I guess the summer before this one, last 2 summers we had a pretty good drought.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a bunch of brush fires, a bunch of farming equipment fires, but there's also a bunch of new construction being built. Bayou Rapides has a bunch of new construction. Highway 28 has a bunch of new construction. So that would probably be the biggest change, I guess, is the construction and the growth of our community.
Mm-hmm.
And, our department, unfortunately, right now is not able to grow with the community.
Right. With some of the funding limitations.
Yes, sir. Right.
And I would, this is off the record. See, I told you I'll go off on a tangent in a quick minute. But I also imagine with all of these new standards that are being rolled out and you guys being required to adhere to, everything from, security kind of things and just new technology and all that kind of good stuff. You got to keep up with that kind of stuff.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Austin, the flyer compares 1953 costs to today's. Can you walk us through what those differences really mean, man?
Yes, sir. So we know all back in 1953, is a long time ago, things were not the same. I mean, today's where we say, cheap. So back in 1953, we say cheap. But now you're looking at the cost of trucks today from back then, relatively cheap. And now you're looking at a truck for what we kind of run now. You're looking at roughly $1 million. And it's like nothing. It's like comparing your groceries back then to today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the drastic cost difference between the two is totally, it's just a big deal.
Yeah. But I guess the big thing is, it's amazing you guys have, this is the first time there's been a change since the institution of this tax, right? Or is it?
What you mean?
I was just saying, is this the first time we've ever come to the public and say, hey, we need additional dollars? Or is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this millage hasn't been raised in over 30 plus years, and we're still running off of that same budget today, trying to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it's just getting tight.
Yeah, well, I guess y'all some good stewards of our money, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Stormy, how does rising equipment costs like fire engines and gear impact your ability to respond effectively? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Like Austin said, we are still running off past the 30-year-old budget. Rising equipment and cost, we need to replace our vehicles. We need to replace our engines, and with the rising equipment and the cost for it, we can't do so. I think our newest truck, we purchased it in 2019. Our newest engine, I'm sorry, we purchased it in 2019. Right now, past that, the second newest one is over 10 years old. And then, we have 3 more that are past 15, or 2 that's past 15 and 1 that's right at 15. So we got 3 and almost 4 that need to be replaced right now. And we don't have the budget for that.
Oh, right.
So
I hear you. So Austin, the mailer says the average homeowner pays less than $10 a month. How is that calculated?
Okay, so we've got the flyer. Here's our flyer. I encourage everybody to come by and pick up one from any one of our stations. And I'm going to go ahead and turn to the middle of it because I want to get this right. I'm no mathematician. So to do this, you gotta do math. Say, for example, your home, you got to get your assessed value. Say your assessed value is 200,000. You would multiply that by the 10%, which is going to come out to 20,000. From that 20,000, you're going to subtract 7,500, which is going to be $12,500. And then you're going to times that by 5% or 10%, whichever category you fall in from the city versus the outside the city. And then once you get that number, you can divide it by 12 and get a monthly rate.
Okay. All right. Just really straightforward.
Yes, sir. A lot of math, but
Yeah.
We can get through it.
You get the.
That's it. That's why I encourage everybody to come get a pamphlet and look it over really well.
I think you're gonna email me that. I'm gonna put that.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna put a link of it right up under this post. So if you could just email it to me,
Sure will.
You will put it out there so that folk will have access to it. Stormy, what does that investment translate to you on the ground when you are responding to an emergency? Because what I'm getting from you, man, is that you just need the equipment to work. It need to be reliable. So walk us through that.
To make a long story short, it would be faster and safer response times. We would get there quicker. We would be less likely to have something fail while we're en route, which to me is a huge thing. So that's it. Faster and safer response times.
Faster and safer response time.
Yes,
hear
sir.
you. Okay. And Austin, the flyer mentioned it can cost around $70,000 to train a firefighter. What goes into that cost, man?
So there's a bunch of things that go into that. So their training, it's a big cost. Books, their gear, their boots, their mask that we wear, a helmet, and the exams that they got to take. So all that together, and the benefits. I forgot the benefits that they get as well. So you factor all that in there, and it's roughly around $70,000, which is a huge deal because that leads into our retention, and then that's another loss that we're suffering down the line.
Mm-hmm. So, Stormy, on your side, how important it is for experience when you're dealing with a real emergency out there?
Experience is a big thing. Some people can get what I call tunnel vision in a high stressful situation, and if you're experienced, you kind of know how to deal with that tunnel vision. But if you're not experienced, it can take over, and in a high stressful situation, which a lot of times, most times, our calls are high and stressful. It's very important. It could be life changing for us or the patient.
Yeah, you mentioned patient because today's firemen are EMTs, EMSs as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Austin, the district points to age and equipment. What's the condition of current trucks and engines right now throughout y'all's fleet?
So our tools and equipment, and the trucks, they are old, but they do work. But now there's far and better, safer tools and trucks that we would love to have, and that's why we're here. And like our trucks, one of our oldest trucks is 1994 model.
Yeah,
it's old. Nowadays with the safety regulations and all the things that they're adding to these trucks and equipment, they're making it better and making it safer for us, which helps us and everybody in the community.
Wow. And Stormy, you personally, have you personally dealt with equipment limitations, with what you guys have right now, especially when you probably, go off to a conference here and there, and these other firemen are saying, look, I'm using X, Y, Z, and man, I still got that 1953, 54 model.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've dealt with, I guess you could say, limitations. We've had gear fail before, but that's nothing on normal. That's going to happen when you're doing what we're doing. But I guess an example of that I can give you is a while back we had a vehicle fire. It wasn't at our station; it was at a different station. They had a car fire, and one of our engines wasn't going to pump. It went in the pump that morning when they checked the truck, but it wouldn't go in the pump at the car fire. So they had to wait for the second due engine in before they can start extinguishing the fire. Things like that can happen. That can happen on a new vehicle. It can happen on a new engine. The brakes can go out on a new engine. Things can happen on a new engine, just like on the older engine, but it's less likely to happen.
Right. And Austin, how does the funding impact? Again, we're talking about this stuff from a finance standpoint, and also from the practical application. But when we get into how does the funding impact station staffing and readiness when someone calls 911? Why is it how does all of that tie into being properly funded?
So when somebody calls 911, these guys don't know who's calling.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to find out where they're going, but they don't really know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't necessarily know what all's going to be happening when they get there. But when they do go, they know they're going to show up and they're going to do a good job. So, it's going to ensure that we're fully staffed, which we really need. The retention at our department is it's a revolving door. It's like we're training them, and then they're going to another department or somewhere else for more money. And we're just trying to be prepared with the best equipment, to serve the community better. It's just some things we've got to get better to keep people here, and they love what they do, but we've got to do better.
Yeah. So in essence, the millage would increasing in the millage will also help with the retention of your existing firemen that you guys have on staff. So kind of what I'm hearing you guys are saying right here is that they come on with us, they train, we spend a nice chunk of change getting them ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we can't keep them here because
That's right.
XYZ fire department want to take them because it's really inexpensive on their part and that they didn't have to pay for their training.
Yep. Yeah, and look, we have some of the best firemen I would put up against anybody in the state.
Mm-hmm.
But to keep them, to have that experience, I mean, there's no comparison. So we've got to have something happen, in order to keep these guys, to keep the experience on this department.
And Stormy, I'm gonna go back into the tactics now, right at this point.
Yes.
From your experience, how critical are those first few minutes when you are responding to a fire or emergency?
They're very critical. It could be the difference between life and death. It could be the difference between saving a structure fire. A structure fire, if you can catch it at the early stages, you can put it out. But if you don't catch it at the early stages, you can have a long day ahead of you. And, if it's a cardiac arrest and we can get there within a couple minutes, we can save them. Me in Austin, actually, it's probably 7-8 years ago.
Probably so. Yeah.
I'm friends with a guy on Facebook. It was cardiac arrest. We got there. His wife, now she played a huge part in it. She was doing CPR, and anyway, he's still alive to this day. So the response times, especially a couple minutes, 3-4 minutes, it's the difference between life and death, or a difference between property and loss and not property loss.
Right. And having that more modern equipment is definitely at the end of the day helping with that, having reliable equipment.
It's less likely to fail. We haven't. I haven't personally been en route to a call and had an engine fail, but it has happened. Not just at our department; it's happened at other departments too. And it can happen. Like I said earlier, it can happen with a new engine, but it's less likely to, than it is the older ones.
Also, the proposal outlined different millage rates inside the city, outside the city. That the first thing some people say, well, I got to pay more if I'm outside of the city, and less in the city. What's up with that?
So, going back to with our pamphlet here, we have it broke down several different assessed values of your home. So that's the big deal to understand it's your assessed value, not what you think your house is worth. But say if your house is assessed at $250,000, you do the math. You're inside the city limits. You're only going to go up by 5 mills, and it's going to cost you roughly $7. Outside in the country, you're looking at 10 mills, which is going to roughly be $14. Now, if your house's value assessed value is $75,000 or less, it's not going to be a cost to you. If you're a renter, it's not going to be a cost to you as well.
Okay, all right. And Stormy, do you see a difference in response challenges between those areas?
No, sir, not too much of a difference. The outside of city limits, you got less red lights and stuff. Maybe the traffic's not as bad. Sometimes the roads are a little more narrow, the back roads.
Mhm.
But the response times and stuff is it's really not that big of a difference. Now, outside the city limits, we work worse wrecks because people are traveling fast. You know, inside the city limits, they can only go so fast before they hit no red light and traffic. But no, sir.
One of you guys explain what Fire District Number 2 geographically. Tell us, because you know, some like right where I am right now, all I see is red trucks. I don't see red and white trucks and solid red trucks on the scene. So tell us what's your you guys' area of coverage and how big it is.
So we cover, I think it's approximately 205 square miles. So we cover from, if you know the Jackson Street Bridge, on this toward Chick-fil-A, we run from that area all the way out to Tunks on 28. We run all the way out to LSUA, and we run all the way up to Woodworth. And now we do go and help our outlying parishes with our
Outlying department.
yes, outlying departments as they need help as well.
Okay. And Austin, what changes can residents expect if the millage increases? What are we going to see?
Yes, sir. So if it increases, you're looking at faster and more reliable response time, which is a major thing. The better staffing and less burnout for the guys. Obviously, update the equipment. That's what we've been talking about, and our vehicles. And we're going to improve our stations. Our Station 1, it's old. It was built in 1952. It's old, and it's time that the guys get a new station to have better conditions to live in.
And at any given time, how many guys are actually in that station?
So in that station, there's 5 at a time.
5.
Yes, sir. And they're on for 48 hours, and they are off for 96.
Oh.
So 2 days on and 4 days off.
Okay. All right. And Stormy, what are the real concerns if the measure does not pass, man?
If the millage doesn't pass, and well, let's hope it does pass.
Okay.
In my opinion, I don't know how the fire department will keep going. We've outgrew our budget and personnel. We've outgrew our budget and prices with everything else. I don't know, maybe layoffs, maybe shutting the station down. I mean, right now we're still going, but we're, like Austin said earlier, we can't keep employees. The newer guys is the issue. We're keeping older, the longer personnel people, but as they retire, we're not able to fill them gaps like we want to. And right now we're already behind, and we still got people coming up to retire. So if we can't replace some employees, we're going to have to shut stations down. I mean,
yeah, unfortunately, it would be decisions that we would probably never want to make.
Yeah.
But, ultimately, hopefully, like he said, this wouldn't happen. We need this to happen. And so we can continue to better ourselves here at District 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And keeping it, because, a lot of times with taxes, people just want to say no to taxes.
Yes, sir.
The reception you guys received on last night, and I just so happened to be in the same meeting that you guys were in, and it looked like the residents in Samtown Woodside really appreciated your response times and different things of that nature, and the idea of possibly seeing some of these stations perhaps having to close just because the funding isn't there could be devastating to families that you guys are getting to before, in some cases, the ambulance get there to provide first aid services to people and different things of that nature, just because we didn't decide to pass a millage. So this is one of these times I think it's a no-brainer. I don't think I think we had an opportunity not long ago on the school system side to pass a tax, and it went through. So how can residents at the end of the day, when the tax pass on in May, how will a district ensure that the funds are being we're using the funds for what you guys are saying you need the funds for?
So I plan to be on social media pretty actively. So get used to seeing me, I guess you could say, because I want to show everybody what we're doing, where the money's being spent. And I also invite everybody to come to the station. Come by and see what you're investing in. There's no better way than to actually lay eyes on what you're investing in.
And so you're going to use, well, y'all doing a pretty good job at using Facebook to communicate and all that kind of good stuff right now, because I see y'all sharing stuff, sharing our content, and all of that kind of good stuff. So, I that transparency is truly needed. And I think that's one of the things in government organizations. The more transparent you can be and the more time people can see what you're doing. And, with us being out there now, a lot of people can see what you guys are doing and see the work that you're doing. I tell you what, some of them scenes that I've been close to, you could just feel the heat. Let's just say 300 feet away, you could feel
it.
And
you never know what you're going to run into.
And you guys are running right up into it
yes,
and all
sir.
that kind of good stuff. I'm like, nah, y'all can have that. I'll still here with the camera.
Oh, yes, sir.
Austin, well, Stormy, what would you want the public to understand about the work you and your team do every single day?
No 2 days are the same. Some days we might run a lot of calls. Some days we don't run as much. We're able to, catch up on maintenance on our vehicles and stuff and our stations. It can be physically and mentally draining and exhausting. I guess that would be about it. Every day is different. We see some stuff, we deal with some stuff. It's not all bad. When we go to these calls, most of the time it's at the worst point in these people's lives, whether it's a medical emergency or a fire, so it is very rewarding. To me, it's very rewarding, and that's why I do it. That's why I wanted to become a firefighter, was because I wanted to help, I wanted to serve, and that's what we do. So I'm hoping and praying this passes, because I would love to be here for 30 years. I would like to serve. I love to serve. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Here was one comment that was made by the public out here. I think you might be able to see it, but if you can't see it, I'll read it there for you.
Sure.
It says, with the increase in crime in our communities, the most medical response time, is critical. And that's one of the things that the fire department bring to the table. And it's something that folk really need to take into real consideration of,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Like I always say, when you call 911, 9 times out of 10, who's showing up first? The fire department. We're going to be there. We're going to be there to work, and we're going to get the job done, and we're going to do it to the best of our ability.
Well, that's what them folk over there in Samtown Woodside said about y'all last night. I'm not.
Yes, sir.
They did say that. They said
that's right.
You guys are here. Austin, for all of the voters who may be undecided, what is the most important thing you want them to consider when they go into the booth to vote on May 16th?
So just really understanding that this small investment, it's going to help Rapides Parish Fire District 2 tremendously. It's going to help us move safely into a future with new equipment to better serve the community.
Point blank and simple. And Stormy, what message would you give to the community about the importance of the fire protection services?
When it's your emergency, you're going to want the best firefighters, the best trained firefighters with the best equipment, whether that's a medical emergency or a fire, whatever it might be. You're gonna want the best. And I just ask that they vote with that in mind. We want to be the best. Like Austin said, we have some very great firefighters. We do. We got some very great firefighters. We got some great captains. I've been able to work underneath who I would say is the two best captains that's ever been at this department. Both of them played a huge role in my life thus far. And I hope that they, the people of Fire District 2, the district of Fire District 2 vote, yes for us. I do.
All right, I hear you. Well, which is really an important statement, because a lot of times when you're reading these millages and all of that kind of stuff, it gets complicated. So,
Yes,
it's really complicated. So to make everything simple for everybody out there that's listening to me tonight, oh yes, on the tax increase. I think it's clear that the amount of increase is very small, and if your house is under homestead exemption, it falls under that. So if your piece of property is valued at less than what I think $75,000,
Yes, sir.
you won't see anything. But
Right.
but what you do need though is for everyone to get out there and go vote and say, hey, we need this thing. And the simplest thing to think about is just say, on that issue pertaining to Fire District number 2, vote yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. Austin and Stormy, before we get out of here, did y'all have anything else that you wanted to say?
We just want to thank y'all for giving us the time to be on here on your platform to let everybody know, what we're out here trying to do. We're really greatly appreciative, and just thank you so very much for your time and also covering us and showing the people what we actually really do, so people can see it firsthand, because they don't know, they don't know. But today, hopefully, is a step in the right direction for a better future.
And when you're talking about Austin, about showing you guys what you do, you're talking about when we're out there in the field filming the
Absolutely.
different incidents,
Absolutely.
what's actually happening out there.
Yes, sir.
So let's make that clear, that's important, that the public see all of that hard work that you guys are actually doing out there. Like I said, on a real note, I've been on scenes when we are recovering someone from a body of water. And the idea that you guys are standing right there after somebody has been there for quite some time, it's almost amazing to see that y'all can do it with the professionalism that you guys can do it. Or in situations when the observation that I've made, been on the scene, and it's a real intense fire. And heck, you got all of the fire trucks, Alexandria, Rapides Fire District number 2, and everybody on the team pumping water into something, and everybody working clearly, together. And the idea of making sure that you guys have the right equipment, the right personnel on staff to make sure that we can be competitive with the other markets out there is really important, that people get out there and go vote yes for this tax. Yeah, I said it. Okay. Austin, Stormy, we appreciate you both for joining us tonight and helping to break down this important issue. This conversation is about more than a tax. It's about safety, preparedness, and making sure our community has the resources it needs when an emergency is required. It happens. The proposed millage increase for Rapides Parish Fire District number 2 will be decided on May 16th. So for you guys over in Ellick that don't think that there's something to go vote for, keep in mind you need to go vote yes on this particular post. We encourage everyone to stay informed and ask questions and make your voices heard. You can always reach out there to Rapides Fire District number 2, and they are going to be glad to answer any questions that you guys might have. For our viewers, I should say, thank you for being a part of this conversation. Make sure you guys share this post, and when you share this post, tell them to keep it simple in your comment, just vote yes on this tax and just share it, and share it as many times as you guys possibly can. So, because some people in the back of the room need to really hear it. A special thank you to our silver sponsor, again, Acadian Ambulance. Without them, conversations like this wouldn't be possible. And to our business partners, Sadler's Towing, who's out there in the field with you guys a lot of times, picking up a vehicle or whatever, to Long's Products, Nader International Market, the Threadhead Embroidery, Elegance Beauty Supplies, and Old Mills Farm. We certainly thank you guys over here at UrbanCast. Let's see, there was one other comment that came out here. It was a question about how will the tax impact our underserved communities, is what the question was. One of y'all want to tackle that one?
Well, I guess we'd have to figure out what they mean by underserved areas. I'm not sure where they're.
I think I'll help break that one down. In other words, a lot of times when you take for example that area where Samtown Woodside is located, it is considered a food desert and a transportation desert, and a lot of times people over there don't have the transportation if they're feeling sick to get to the hospital, and they may just stay at home until the last minute. You know what I mean? But as you guys heard on the other night, I think that question kind of got answered then, that people really appreciate your closeness to them to be able to serve that community in a timely and efficient kind of manner. And I think that's kind of what that question was meant.
Yeah, if they call, we're going to be there, and we're going to get there as quick as we can and try to address the issue.
And other than that, guys, I think this is a wrap on this show tonight. Again, anything else that y'all thought of that I forgot to ask you guys about?
I think that's it. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Our stations will have the pamphlets, so if anybody wants to come by and get one or look at one, we will have them.
We just encourage everybody to come by. All our firemen know this information and can talk with any fireman that we have.
All right. So I'm not gonna put y'all electronic version, because it sounds like y'all want to talk to the public at the fire.
Absolutely. I want them to come in and
I'm gonna take my offer back then.
we want them to come in and see it firsthand. I think that's the best way.
Okay, cool. That sounds like a winner. Well, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and end this stream, fellas. If y'all hang in there, I'll be back. We'll be back here shortly.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
This is Pastor Roger L. Green, Sr., pastor of the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're welcoming you to our worship services on Sunday morning. Sunday school begin at 8 a.m. Worship services begin at 9 a.m. Come and grow with us, a place of faith, family, and fellowship. We would love to have you. Come see us Sunday morning. We'll see you there. Be blessed.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.